Okay, I'm back for another review here. I just did the Snowpeak Trek 700 titanium pot review, and now I'm going to focus on the Snowpeak Gigapower LightMax stove. It's got a really long name, but it's a pretty nice stove, pretty lightweight too. This is how I stored it throughout the entire Appalachian Trail, and this is what has worked best for me on other trips as well. This is just a little Tyvek bag that I made, but it's a lot lighter than what they give you. With the stove, you get this little velvety stuff sack type of thing with a cinch cord and all that. And really, this is kind of overbuilt. It's a little too heavy for what you really need for the stove. You really don't need a lot of protection for it, but I use this bag just in case. Keep scratches and stuff away. And this bag weighs 0.4 ounces. This Tyvek bag weighs 0.1 ounces, so it saves you 0.3 ounces. Not a lot, but in the scale of this stove, it's actually a good amount of weight, so it's worth doing. And inside the bag, I store the stove with a miniature Bic lighter. This Bic lighter weighs 0.4 ounces, and this is a great lighter to take if you need one on the trail. Anyways, back to the stove. This is the stove, and by itself it weighs 2 ounces exactly, which is super light. You'll see here the fuel adjustment handle folds up like that to make it more compact, but then it just snaps right out and turns to adjust the amount of fuel and how big the flames are. And for the stove, or for the pot supports, all you do is take this last one here and wrap it around like that, and then each of these supports has a little extra support, I guess you would call it, that folds out. So that's what the stove looks like. It's got 3 main pot supports, this one burner here, and the fuel control. And you can see here, all you do is take the fuel canister, line up the threadings, and push them on, and there you go. You've got your pot supports and you've got your stove all ready to go. So the stove is super lightweight, a lot lighter than most designs, and really compact, which is great. Saves you space, fits right inside your pot. And one thing you'll notice, some stoves have a piezo ignition where you press a little button and it creates a shock that lights the stove. This does not have that, but I got this stove on purpose without that ignition. A, because yeah, it saves a little bit of weight, and B, my last stove actually had that and it malfunctioned all the time. It hardly worked. You could adjust it every now and then and make it work, but it really wasn't worth the hassle. And it's easier just to use a lighter. Just hold the lighter up beside it while you light it. So that's what I do. Saves a little bit of weight, and you always have a lighter anyways. And even if the lighter ran out of fuel, you could use the sparks to light the stove. So you're pretty much good to go. I guess I will just show you here. We probably won't be able to see the flame, but I'll show you how it lights. You can see how the 700 pot sits on top. You still have a little bit of room on each side. And while I'm on that, I will say you probably don't want to use this type of stove with a big, large based pot with a large diameter, because most of this flame is directed upward and a little bit outward. So you'll get about this much radius with the flame, or this much diameter. If you have a larger pot, the outside edges will tend to stay a little colder, so it's not going to cook as evenly. So if you're using a large pot for multiple people, you may want to use a different type of stove. And you may not even want to use a canister stove, because a lot of them share this same design. You may want to use a solid fuel, or not a solid fuel, a liquid fuel stove or something like that. But anyways, this is a really great solo stove, or even for 2 people it would work well. So basically, you set your pot on, you turn the fuel, and you can hear the gas coming out there, and you hold up a lighter beside it and it's lit. I'm pretty sure we're not going to be able to see anything on the camera, but if I turn it up, you might be able to see the flames there, and it'll get really hot on you. One thing about these stoves, they burn really hot really fast, so if you have pasta or anything in here, even rice, you want to keep it stirred, because otherwise the bottom of it's going to burn and it'll ruin your meal. That happened to me a couple times because I was used to cooking on a fire where it cooks a lot slower and you don't have to stir as much. But with these canister stoves, they burn really hot, so make sure you're stirring pretty often. But yeah, you can see, maybe you can see the flame there, probably not, but they get a little bit loud when you're on full-blown mode, but it's not too disturbing. And I'll go ahead and turn it off here. That's about all there is to cover. These are great for solo or dual cookers, for cooking for 2 people. More than that, I would say you might want a stove that spreads out the flame a little more for a bigger pot. It's lightweight, really compact. It's never malfunctioned on me. It lasted the entire trail, and it'll still be going. I'll be using this on my future trips as well. Makes a great solo stove, and this fuel is readily available, so that shouldn't be a problem. So I definitely recommend it, and I've got some more videos coming up soon, so stay tuned.